open this moment up to any questions that anyone may have. I would love to engage them. I skipped over a lot of pieces in the exhibition. If you wanted me to talk about another piece, I'm more than happy to talk about it. If you want me to talk about stuff that I skipped over in compositions, I'm more than happy to talk about it as well, because I didn't tell you everything. I just told you snippets of it. I'm hopefully acting as a guidepost. The beauty of the work is, I told you, I call it a kitchen talk because I'm inviting to a space of conversation. I'm using the artwork as a means of telling those stories and sharing with you the history, sharing with you the joy, sharing with you the pain, sharing with you the work that I believe that we all must do. That's what it's about. And that happens in the kitchen sometimes. And then hopefully we can have a good meal. There's some good food over there. Eat it up. Indeed. Yes.
That's a question. So, kitchen talk, was that conceived before you started working on any of these pieces, or as it came along? Because this may sound stupid or silly, but noticing in many of the pieces there's a black and white kind of checker pattern, which is associated with kitchen floor tile, especially my childhood.
Yes.
Is that conscious, or am I just reading about it?
This show was not conceived before I came up with Kitchen Talk. I told you the Kitchen Talk, in the beginning of my talk, I don't know when you came in or what you heard, but the beginning of my talk, I told you about my mom. Part of it came out of that experience. One story that I left out that talks about why I finally came up with Kitchen Talk, it came up with, I was doing a talk at a school up in Chicago. I'm trying to leave it names, I almost said it. I'm trying to leave the college names. I was at this college and I was speaking to a group of students, undergrad and grad students. And then one of the professors at the back of the audience asked me a question at the end of my talk. And I'm gonna paraphrase him and I'm gonna act him out a little bit. And so he was in the back and he's like, well, Steve, thank you for what you said and how you talked about the work, and I love the stories and what you shared and so forth, but I'm trying to reconcile something inside of me. And I was thinking about when I was in grad school, and one of the things that we learned in grad school is that the art should speak for itself, but you did a lot of talking about the artwork, and I'm trying to find a way in which to reconcile all that what you said about the artwork and breaking all those different elements down and telling these stories. So what do you have to say about that? No, I have my composure. I talk all the time. I talk all the place. I said, thank you for your question. And then I said to him, I was born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. And I said, I remember when I went to undergrad, it was very different from what you just described to me about the art should speak for itself. When I went to Xavier University of Louisiana, which is an historically black college and university, I remember the college scene in the classroom was one that we talked about everything. We laid out all kinds of stuff. We talked about politics, we talked about race and representation, we talked about relationships, everything was laid out on the floor. And then when we came up with critiques and we talked about the works, now we talked about the foundation and the ways in which we build and we play around with lights and darks and how we do colors and all the stuff that you learn in terms of the elements and principles of design. We talked about all that stuff. But everything was included. And a lot of stories were told, because many times after we finished making art, we would sit around in the art department and some people would break out wine and some people would break out beer. I did drinks, I had my little soda on the side and some paper bags so I could look like I was blending in. I'm serious. So we were all in the room, we were all talking and telling stories till the wee hours of the night after we made artwork all day. And then many times the professors would leave and go home and the students were all there. Then I left there. And then I went to Michigan State for grad school. And I remember being in a critique. And I remember guys would put stuff up on the wall, they would just like throw something together and stick it on the wall, and we had these deep philosophical talks and conversations about the work. And I'm looking, I was like, what in the world? It was different for me because it was a different tradition. I caught on after a little while because I started understanding it, just looking at it a little different than I do. They had a little different conversation than I had. And then I started thinking, I started seeing it. I started understanding the depths of what this section can look like and the beauty that's embedded within that. And I can talk to you for a long time just about that. I couldn't say nothing else, but I could just talk to you about the cuts and the beauty of cutting and what it feels in the repetition and how you're shaping and how I'm dealing with space. I can talk to you about that. But I also can tell you the stories that are here too. So I said to the gentleman, I said, that's your tradition. I went through a tradition. I respected it. I simply ask you to respect my tradition too. I said, because yes,
My artwork definitely speaks for itself. But guess what? I do too. That's where Kitchen Talk comes from. So I said, no, stop trying to make me conform to some kind of box to say I gotta say things a certain way. I choose to perform this work and express it in another way. Because that's me. This is the way I talk. This is my personality. You got me. Take it or leave it. I don't care. I'm getting on the plane. I'm going home. I'm serious. I'm getting on the plane. I'm going home. I'm going to the next place. And I'm going to say the same thing to them. Because I believe we got to respect each other in terms of where we come from and the foundations that we are. Because that's where the true growth and the change and that's where the true transformation is going to take place, by allowing us to see past the surface that has been the lies that have been taught to us from the past and brought to us right now, and we act on stuff and not really observing why we cut the turkey. I know you probably don't get the illusion, but it goes to the story. I say it goes to the story about the turkey is because my mom told me the story is a joke, but it's a true one. And that she said that there was this woman who was cutting the turkey, and the daughter came to mom and said, Mama, why you cut the back of the turkey? She said, that's what grandmother did. You need to go ask her. So she went to grandma and said, Grandma, why you cut the turkey and put it before you put it out? She said, because the oven was too small. And it's like, Mama's still cutting the turkey. Her stove is much bigger now. It can fit it. But she's still cutting the turkey, but she never asks why she's doing it. And that's what's going on. So much stuff that's going on. We don't ask, why are we doing the things? Why we hate someone else? Why we dislike someone else? Why we don't want to go there? Why you don't want to marry a black person? Why you don't want to marry a white person? Why do we want to mess with an Asian? Why do we mess with a Latino? Why do we want to... There's all kind of confusion. It's been passed on generation to generation. And some of that hate was taught to the kids when they were little bitty kids. And they're growing up with it. Some people are waking up. Oh my God. And they stand in opposition to their parents. This is the truth of our existence. That's the kitchen talk. Let's talk about that. Let's stop talking and skating over the stuff and talking all up here. No, right here. It's right here in our face. We're living right now. We're breathing right now. And one of the students depressed me today. She told me that the world's going to be on the way soon. She said, large masses of land will disappear. You see, that's kitchen talk, guys. That's kitchen. We can go from one extreme to the next. Come on, let's engage each other. We're all human. We all tell stories. Let's not worry about, I don't want to say that because I want to offend them. No, yeah, we're going to say stuff that's going to offend each other. That's a relationship. I don't know how many wives and how many husbands in this room that hadn't said something to their spouse that the other one just misunderstood what they were saying. And they fought about it for like 2-3 years. Okay? Like still the same old argument. And they can't get past it. Somebody on the outside looking, what is wrong with y'all? Just love one another. Inside, go home. Whatever. Just, work it out. Figure it out. Yes.
I was a little bit tardy and walked in while you were talking.
Yes.
And I've heard you use the descriptor dirge.
Yes.
And we all know what that means. And it means something similar to all of us because it is fairly musical and it's fairly, it's a memory of what's past and what's somehow lost, and also something that we can learn from. And the opener that I grabbed on when I walked in was that you were talking about connectedness. And a commonality in all life is birth and life and death and loss. And the dirge is something that is, it's a powerful part of loss, right? But it's also part of recovery and reflection and all of that. When I look at, and I haven't even looked closely, but as I look at what you're saying, it's not only about one aspect of living in God, it's about all aspects.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You gave a beautiful run through that on the just because the dirge is not simply about life and death. It's about everything in between. And I've been defining dirge as representation for all kinds of other things. Dirge could be sexism.
Dirge can be racism. Dirge can be ageism. You can go on all the different issues that it could be. Dirge is something that hurts. Dirge is part of loss and mourning, and it's something we all have to grapple with and all deal with. Some of the stuff is like right here between our ears. It's in us. Some stuff we're born with. Some things we need help with. Some things we need counseling with. Sometimes we need community, family, churches. All kinds of things are helping us make it through on the everyday. And I believe as an artist, as a visual artist, I believe one of our things that I say recurrently is that I believe we are truth sayers. And I believe that we are ones who see the world around us a little differently than most people.
We being artists?
We being artists. We see the world a little bit differently. And I was having a conversation with one of the students today, one of the grad students, and we're just talking about the power of seeing the beauty in the everyday. And that's us as artists. You know, I know how many people in this room look at and see stuff in clouds and see stuff in rock formations. And then you like looking at your friend, they're looking at you like, what are you looking at? You know, they don't see it. You know, they're not, their body, their mind, their brain, their cognitive elements are not broken down to see it. Many times we have to guide them through it and walk them through it. And then say, no, look here. See the eyes right here? And then, oh, I see it. You know? And then after a while, you can almost train them to begin to see it. And then they'll start telling you stuff. You see that face? I saw that face over there. You saw it too? Yeah, I saw it. You know, and it's those kind of things. But as a visual artist, we have this ability to take the everyday world around us, take all the materials, everything. There's nothing that doesn't have a meaning to an artist that could not be used as something else, or could have a repurpose, or could not be recycled through an artist's eyes. Everything around us is made through some artist. Somebody had a vision to see and to see it differently. You know, when someone looks at a stone and able to see something in it and then bring it out. Or look at water and see the beauty in the water, or the trees and the leaves and the colors and the change of seasons. You know, I believe all of us can receive that beauty and understand the sublime nature of that, or we could. But I think some of us got a little bit are tuned, a little bit higher, that see it on another level.
Well, here's another part of my observation question. This is a question.
Gotcha.
Because I've recently been with an artist who's making pictures, graphite drawings, trying to reach what music does to the spirit. And he's basically saying, I don't think that I'll ever get there, because how many of us have entered the Monday morning and had challenges psychologically, emotionally, and we hear that song that transports us. In your work, does it ever, for you as a practitioner, transport you to another place like music can? You reference music a lot. I just wonder if in your making, in the doing, if it ever takes you to that place that music does.
I think it does in a sense, not quite the same. I think music operates and does what it does because it's active. It's music is vibration, and so the art could be vibration. You can make the artwork do that and make that that can mimic those kind of elements. But just the kind of work that I do, my work is static. It's still. So therefore, I have to do it with the way in which I work with light and dark, or where in which I work with scale. I'm using other design mechanisms.
But I mean, you talking about it does
Yeah.
that, and you singing to us does that, and your delivery does that. I just found it interesting to hear his desire for that and his pursuit of that, but it was not attainable. And I guess we were asking if it's ever attainable for the visual arts to do what the audible arts do.
Yeah, I guess I would answer it from the standpoint, I think that each one does its own thing. And they activate another element within us and how we respond to it. And I think we need to allow it to do that. For example, if you read a book, that form of art, if you're reading the sounds, you're reading those words into your mind, and you're taking on the characters and you're embodying them. And they touch you, they can touch your soul and grab and cause you and move you in such a way, to move you to tears and captivate you. And I believe visual art can do that. It just does it differently than that what a musical piece would do. It has its own space and how it operates. And I believe that that's the beauty, I think, of when we talk about being here in the institutional structural space. That's the beauty of all the different disciplines. It's because each one of them is speaking their own way, but we all are speaking a very similar language that connects us. So that the mathematicians are doing, that what the scientists are doing, that what the psychologists are doing, that what the visual artists are doing, all of them are speaking from their own space. But we all hopefully are speaking to the same place. It's about elevating us all through whatever angle we're going. You know? So the scientists and so forth, we can go on and on and on. Everybody speaks in your own way. So I'm not necessarily trying to make my work do something that is not designed to do. But not to say that I'm not trying to use music as a form to flow through it, because it's obviously in it, because I talked you through it. I'm using things like rhythm and repetition. That's music. Rhythm, repetition. It's just different. You know, same thing in terms of writing. You write a poem, you use rhythm, repetition, meter, space, all that stuff, sound, inflection, if you're presenting it. Each one does its own thing. So allow it to do it. It's like us. Each one of us are all the same, but yet we all do our own thing. And we all have things that we gravitate to, that we are retract, that we repel to. It's like foods, all that stuff. It goes on and on and on. So many layers to it. So I'm not trying to be a musician, but I know that music is a major part of my play. But as literature is a major part of my play, as history is a major part of my play, as science is a major part of what I do. The artist is like an alchemist, you know, we're taking something and making gold out of it, you know? So that's where I respond to that. Yes?
Final question. I recognize, I'm so stealing this. You standing there talking and then getting us to applaud, you got an automatic standing ovation. Not only people would see me if I did. But no, thank you so much for your generosity, for sharing so many stories, for bringing us both to laughter and to tear as you describe your work. But as you describe it, it's so beautifully polished. I've heard you tell so many stories, and you bring in the same passion no matter how many times you tell it. And we have a number of students in this space right now, and David is beautifully recording this as well as Hayford is to share with our other students who can't be here with us tonight. Advice. Any epiphanies that have helped you find this path to where you are now? And is there anything that you would give as advice in a nutshell for them as they continue to find their path?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question that you asked me. And in terms of advice, I would encapsulate it very similar to what I had individually with a lot of different students. And when I went in there and talked to them about their work, there was a recurring thesis in terms of what I did with the students in terms of interacting with them. I wanted them to tell me about themselves, tell me their story, and tell me about what brought them to how they got to where they're at. So I heard stories of their past, I heard stories of their friends, I heard stories of their families, I heard stories of their struggles of dealing with their maleness, their femaleness, whatever. All these things, I've heard all these different stories. And so that's what connected us in that journey. I heard students share at different stages, from first year to second year to third year in terms of grad school, and the struggles that they were confronting. I heard students who have families and who got jobs, other jobs in which they're balancing, and all these multiple stories of existence. And what's kind of recurring through it all is the work, and what the work does and how it serves us. First and foremost, I believe we are the first recipients of the fruit of our labor. We, the ones who create it. We're the first ones that see it. We're the first ones that make a mark upon canvas or upon block and begin to bring it to life. And then the beauty of it is that we are not selfish in that creation. We then give it to the world. We bear ourselves open, we cut ourselves open, and we share the whole world what we're dealing with, what we're grappling with. And so I encourage the students just keep on searching for that healing within the self, because that's where a lot of the work has to be done, so that you can be as healthy as you possibly can to go out into the world to share that work and do it without fear and do it without hesitation. Because to create and to make, it's hard to do this as a visual artist and to survive in the art world out there to make it happen. The statistic is, I'm not sure if it's changed, it probably has, but when I remember I was in school, it was 10% of students that go through your art schools and colleges across the United States actually work in their field, 10%. I heard that when I was in grad school, and I didn't blink an eye at it. I didn't think, oh man, the 10%, I'm probably gonna be at 90 and I ain't gonna make it. I might as well stop. I don't know why I'm even doing this. No. I knew since I was 5 years old that I wanted to be an artist. So why should I deny myself of the thing that makes me the happiest? The thing that wakes me up every day, the thing that brings me so much joy, the thing that I've seen make other people so happy, that I deposit all kinds of different places, the places that I've been able to go and teach and to share, you know? And the beauty of the journey is that I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know I was going to become a professor or become a teacher. I didn't know that was going to happen. That happened along my journey as doors opened and opportunities came and interactions happened. And then then all of a sudden, next thing you know, I'm standing in front of a class, sweating, nervous, all on my mind, and like talking to them, and like in hand trembling, got to hold my other hand, shaking on the board, and then just put it behind my back. Demonstration. I mean, come on. You know, it's like bombing. Then at the point, I got so comfortable with myself, I messed up a demonstration. Got it. All right, I messed up. All right, this is what's supposed to happen. That's why I always have a backup. You pull out the thing, that's where it's supposed to look. And if it does mess up, that's how you fix it. You know? So those things are so important, I think, in terms of the growth and the maturation and the journey. And then the other thing was, you know, it's like, you know, as an artist, you know, I mean, trying to figure out what path you want to go on. And I remember how my path came to me. You know, as it came into teaching, the next thing I'm doing, I'm standing in pulpits, delivering messages, giving sermons in churches all over the United States. And I'm like, I didn't start off saying I wanted to do that. I didn't want to go in nobody's pulpit. I ended up in a pulpit like this, turned around, and the next thing I was standing in front of a congregation. And they're like, okay, where's the message? You know, it was almost like that, you know? But now I'm all over the country. I'm speaking at all kinds of different churches, all kinds of different denominations. I'm sharing this message. And the reason why I can share it and share it over and over and over again is because this is my life. This is what I do. You know, so it's not hard, but it is hard, if that makes sense. It takes a lot.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I'm more than happy to engage you talking about the work. And so forth. Peace and blessings.
Thank you. We have a ministry. Yes. Thank you so much. Very good.